Now, a lot of people like to start their mornings with a daily cup of joe. And our first guest is a Kenyan coffee farmer who's here. She's going to give us a step-by-step on how to make iced coffee properly and deliciously. Margaret Nyamubo is a third-generation Kenyan coffee farmer, and she's here to perk us up with her cold brew. Good morning, Margaret.
Good morning.
So let's hear a little bit about your background. You're a third-generation coffee farmer?
Yes, I grew up on my grandfather's coffee farm in Kenya. I have some fond memories of picking coffee and enjoying it on the farm.
So for people who've never had Kenyan coffee beans, how would you describe Kenyan coffee?
So Kenyan coffee is known for a very rich flavor. It has a lot of blackcurrant, citrus, caramel notes. And that's because of the kind of soil that's in Kenya that really impacts very, very complex flavors in coffee. And it works really well with whether you're brewing it hot or you're brewing it cold. And especially when you're brewing it for ice, it retains that complex taste.
Oh, very nice. And it's great to see you're carrying on the family business, the family legacy. Now, today we're talking about cold coffee, iced coffee. And you're saying there is a correct way to do this just right, especially with Kenyan coffee. Does it matter if you're using Kenyan coffee beans, and do they need to be fresh? What do we need?
Yeah, so for iced coffee, you want to use this high quality beans like you would for hot coffee. The only difference is because you're brewing it and adding ice to it, you want the coffee to be sort of have a rich flavor that can be maintained once you add ice. And Kenyan coffee does a really good job of maintaining that flavor, even when it's brewed, whether it's cold brew or brewed hot, or when you're drinking it.
Okay, so you can't just take any cup of coffee and put it on ice. Is there a preferred roast that we should use?
Yes, so we prefer a medium roast for iced coffee. That way you get a little bit of the coffee style from how it was grown, and then you also get the roasting characteristics. So it's a really good balance of flavor that when you add ice to it, it really comes together really well. So I would recommend a medium roast.
All right. Well, I have some of your coffee right here with me. I'm not going to do any of the demonstration. I'm going to leave that to you. So why don't you get started and show us how to do this perfect cup of ice cold coffee?
Yeah, so to make it's really easy to make iced coffee. It's probably the easiest thing ever. What you do is you make coffee like you normally would. So I have some that I brewed here on a French press. The trick is, because you're going to be adding some ice to it, you want to make it stronger than you normally would. So use less water. And the other thing that you're going to need is you're going to need some milk, and then you're going to need some cream if you want it a little bit creamy. And because the coffee is high quality, you don't need a lot of sweetness. The coffee itself is actually really sweet. So I always forgo sweetness. And of course, you need ice. So the first thing you want to do is add ice.
Okay, so we're going to add the ice. Now, I do have a question. Do we make a big batch, or do you just make it by the cup?
When you're making iced coffee, make it by the cup because you really want it freshly brewed. That's when you get all the flavors. So you want to brew it right before you use it.
And is there a certain proportion of ice that we should be using? I saw you dump some in the cup there.
Yeah, I like to use about half a cup ice. Don't put too much ice because you don't want it to get watery. And you want to use larger pieces of ice. That way they don't melt fast and dilute your coffee. So you want to use a bigger blocks of ice. So that's another really good trick for making sure you get all the flavor before the ice dilutes it.
Yes, these iced coffee hacks, I love it. All right, so you have the ice in the cup. Are we pouring in the milk next? What's the next step?
Yeah, the next step is to get some milk in there. And I like to put some milk up to about halfway through. And then the next thing I like to do is add the cream. And you notice here, the order is so important. You don't want to put the coffee on the ice because you will melt the ice. So you want to add the cold elements first. So you add the milk and you put creamer. And the creamer really helps to bring out the flavor of the coffee. It's very creamy. So it's a really good way to interact with the coffee. And then lastly, you add the coffee. So this is the magic ingredient. Otherwise, you serve milk. So the
Oh my
go
goodness. That's actually a very big jar glass there, Margaret. I mean, is that gonna keep you perked the whole day?
Yeah, I mean, this is just my first cup. I'll be making another one in the afternoon. But I like it nice and big because you're adding a lot of ice. So you need all that space to make sure you get in good amount of coffee.
Got it, got it. Well, this has been really fun. I know that iced coffee is super popular, especially because it's hot in the summer. And I'm going to tell our audience, you can get Margaret's Kenyan coffee. This came from Trader Joe's, and as she said, it's a medium roast, perfect for that iced coffee to keep you going through the day. Appreciate you sharing that with us this morning. You can get your coffee fix. Take a coffee break with Margaret on Instagram at Kahawa1893.